¿ok? Ahora sí vamos a necesitar ayuda de la audiencia, ¿ok? Porque lo primero, lo más importante es un mic check. Pongan en los comentarios antes de que nos arranquemos con todo, si es que nos escuchan bien. Let me see if I can, if you guys can hear us well. Tengo aquí a Carlos Montezuma García. Welcome, Carlos. Muchas gracias por tomarte el tiempo de estar aquí con nosotros y dedicarnos un momentito a nuestra comunidad.
Claro que sí, this is exciting, right? I mean, I'm not very familiar with all of these mediums, but it's great to learn and figure this out, and it'll be exciting to be here and looking forward to having this conversation and answering whatever questions I may be able to answer.
Awesome, yes. Entonces, díganos en los comentarios si nos escuchan bien o si tenemos que hacer algunos tweaks aquí. Enrique, let me know in the comments. Tenemos 148 personas aquí en el TikTok viéndonos. Saludos, saludos a todos. Díganos, it's good. Sí se puede escuchar muy bien. Ok, perfecto, perfecto. All right, guys. Y luego, Enrique, if you can do me the favor, or Mexi Dreamer, of going to my YouTube and just also doing a mic check there, because that's where we're going to save this whole thing, guys. Ahí se va a quedar por siempre. Lo voy a editar, le voy a quitar todos los awkward pauses y todo, ya saben. Vamos a limpiarlo. Y ahí se va a quedar el video para siempre. Entonces, if you guys could please do me that favor and go check over there and just come back and let me know, that would be amazing. O póngame ahí un comentario en el YouTube. Ok, Blanca dice, sí se escucha bien en YouTube. Perfect. Oh, yay! Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. Déjenme, les platico poquito de quién es Carlos que tenemos aquí el día de hoy. I was making memory porque I reached out to him like a week ago. I'm like, hey, I saw that you're on the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals en el DACA oral arguments hearing. Y miré un video que puso y dije, ay, de aquí soy. Le voy a decir a Carlos a ver si tiene chance de venir a darnos un update a todos nosotros, todos los Spanglish Dreamers. And so I reached out and he kindly agreed and I was so happy. And then I started making memory. Y dije, oh my God, I've known Carlos Garcia for like over a decade. Más de 10 años llevo conociéndolos.
I think it's more than 12 years for sure.
More than 12 years, yes. Like more than 12 years. ¿Por qué? Ahí les va. Porque maybe he's not going to mention all of this, guys, when he does his introduction. So I'm going to go ahead and say it for him. Es una persona que aparte de que es un good immigration attorney, es un advocate for nuestra comunidad. Es local de aquí del Valle, del 956 McAllen. So I feel very proud to have him here with us porque es uno de esos que sé que apoya a la comunidad, no nada más le da servicios a la comunidad, no nada más brinda buenos servicios, pero like he's an advocate, you know. Tengo una memoria contigo, Carlos, de que tú siempre donabas cuando yo trabajaba ahí en la Lupe, en la Nueva del Pueblo, despensas a las comunidades de bajos recursos.
Sí.
And those are one of like the core memories that I have from you. Like those were the days. So those are the type of things that he does in our community that I think make him different and why he merits a space in our community. So muchas gracias. Bienvenido.
Gracias. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, like I said earlier. Yeah, I mean, I remember when I met you one of the first times, it was there in San Juan, and yeah, Guadalupe, and you know, you were a baby.
Yes, I was such a baby. That was like 12 years ago. Yes.
It was exciting, right? It was exciting times. I remember I showed up prior, you know, I had been involved, but prior to the DACA announcements. But then in the DACA announcements, I think a group of us went, and Karina was still here with Texas Civil Rights. Well, at the time it was South Texas Civil Rights Project, and a couple of other lawyers that went and joined us, Claire and Lauren, and it was exciting to be there. But I'm glad to be here now. Yeah, looking forward to having this conversation.
Yeah, that's true. You just reminded me of that we went to have the hearings in Austin, ¿verdad? It was Austin, and it was for driving license for all.
Yeah, and then shortly after that, there was some stuff in Brownsville. I mean,
bastante. So there's a lot of history con Carlos Garcia. Thank you so much for being here. Y bueno, antes de que empecemos, a mí me gusta hacer un icebreaker. So ya te conozco a ti, ¿verdad? Pero normally I do an icebreaker just to like break the ice, ¿verdad? Con los viewers y también para empezar la conversación, porque el día de hoy vamos a estar hablando acerca de todo lo de DACA. ¿Qué está pasando con DACA? Preguntas frecuentes. Vamos a estar hablando acerca del el court case de DACA. Entonces va a ser mucha conversación informativa, pero antes de eso, yo quisiera saber cuál es el motivo que tú decidiste ser un abogado de migración.
Claro, sí, esta es mi comunidad, ¿verdad? Yo soy del Valle del Río Grande, yo soy de la frontera y aquí es donde me crié y entonces siempre he estado interesado en ayudar a nuestra comunidad. My parents are immigrants and so that's just a community I always wanted to help. So I took a kind of a, you know, circuitous, I can't even say the word with, I got braces unfortunately at this but just an interesting route because at first I was a television reporter and then I did some other stuff, marketing stuff, and then I went to law school because I knew I always wanted to work with my community. And so I came down when I finished law school y regresé al Valle, and I decided that this is the type of work that I wanted to do, helping my community, advocating in whatever way that I could.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know you were a news reporter también.
For a while.
Yeah.
But it's
That's
exciting because I love, right, I can do a certain thing and I'm constrained by the rules of the legal profession and we can file certain cases. But that's why it's really important for people, like this is a perfect example of an amazing civil rights movement that DACA and the Dreamers have taken on, because none of this, despite who was in office at the time, none of this would have been possible without people like you all advocating for this and informing people and really making this movement happen. And so that's why it's really important to be there to support this this type of cause.
awesome. Sí, that's amazing. Thank you so much for that. Y bueno, otra cosa es que es del 956 del Valle del Río Grande, pero I know that you work in cases from all over the country, ¿verdad?
Right. Yeah. And immigration law is federal. I do. I'm admitted to practice in federal court, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. Yeah. And immigration law is federal. So we do that. Yeah. In fact, we were with MALDEF. MALDEF is the organization that we should all be supporting.
MALDEF es una chingonada.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, the
Mexican American Legal Defense
and Educational Fund.
Education
Yeah.
Fund.
And Nina Perales, amazing attorney. All of their attorneys are amazing, but the one that I am most familiar with and really applaud is Nina Perales, who led the way on multiple cases. In fact, in the DAPA case, I don't know if you remember that. DAPA case, we were also on that case, which eventually went up to the Supreme Court. Unfortunately, didn't go our way. But yeah, she was the catalyst for all of this, and so I really take my hats off to them.
Yes, me too. Yo siempre les extiendo la carpeta roja a MALDEF, en serio que hacen muy buen trabajo. Ok, bueno, pues gracias por esa introducción. Antes de que empecemos a hablar acerca de el recap del court case, yo les quiero recordar a todos los que nos están viendo el día de hoy que nosotros podemos llegar a informar más personas si ustedes nos ayudan compartiendo el video. La verdad es que a veces poner tu granito de arena goes a long way. So if you can help me by sharing this video, sending it to someone that has DACA, that has questions, because we're about to talk about questions that are frequently asked on the group. And we're only 85 people here. I think we need to be more because there's definitely a lot of people on the group that really need this information and that have been asking for this. So if you guys could go ahead and do that. Les voy a dejar aquí en TikTok esa tareita y también en YouTube. Mándaselo a tu prima, tu vecina, quien sea que tú sepas que es un dreamer, que tiene un hijo dreamer o cualquier cosa que se pueda beneficiar. Vamos a estar dando información acerca de lo de DACA, el DACA Update y también las preguntas frecuentes. Así que hay que aprovechar este tipo de oportunidades donde tenemos a una persona experta que nos pueda pues hablar acerca de la información que nos interesa a nuestra comunidad. So, thank you so much for sharing. Yes, thank you. I see some of the shares. Yo soy Spanglish girl. Trato de hacer estos Juicy Lives porque esta comunidad, pues aparte de que me gusta hacer videitos y todo, tú, Carlos, a mí me gusta crear comunidad. right? Like I love to build community, aparte de pasar información y tratar de inspirar a mi comunidad. I love building community, and we have a really nice community on Facebook, se llama Spanglish Streamers, y también aquí en TikTok. Y salen muchas preguntas, y una de las preguntas que ha salido bastante últimamente ha sido acerca de, pues, de DACA, ¿verdad? De que, qué está pasando con DACA, what is the court case about, who is it going to affect? Hay muchas preguntitas, y ahorita que vino octubre 10, and October 10th eran los oral arguments. And so we got a lot of questions on the group about that. And why don't you talk to us about, explícanos con manzanitas, como que si estamos bien tontos. ¿Qué es lo que pasa con DACA? ¿Qué es ese court case? What is it?
Claro. Well, first off, I'd like to say I love your community because I follow it. And I really enjoy watching your videos. And obviously you've got a dynamic personality. And so that's really cool that you're using these ways of communicating to inform people. And I applaud you for that. And I applaud all the people who are asking all these questions as well. And are actively interested in what's going on, because we can't just sit back, right, and let something happen. All right. So what's going on at the Fifth Circuit? The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals is, for just a very basic, the case started in Brownsville in South Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley, where the state of Texas decided to sue to stop the DACA program. And there, Judge Hainan found that the program could not move forward, that it was unconstitutional. So it was appealed to the Fifth Circuit. There's been multiple rounds of cases going back to the district court and to the Court of Appeals. The Court of Appeals that belongs to us is the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. And after many years of litigation, the case was heard there in New Orleans a couple of weeks ago on October 10th. So what's happening is that the state of Texas and other Republican conservative states are arguing that this program should cease to exist, that it's unconstitutional, that it cannot move forward, and that the courts need to basically say that, exactly. And then what the United States right now, right, during the Trump administration, they had a different position. But during this administration, during the Biden administration, they're arguing, as well as what we are arguing, the Maldiv interveners, DACA interveners on behalf, and Maldiv's arguing on their behalf, as well as the state of New Jersey. What we're arguing is that DACA is constitutional, that DACA should move forward, and that the case has benefited, that DACA has benefited so many people, and the country, more importantly, has benefited so much from all of the dreamers, all of the people who have been able to obtain employment authorization as a result of DACA. So making all of those arguments, there's some very technical arguments as well about standing. We don't believe that the state of Texas has standing. We don't believe that the state of Texas has shown injury. They keep talking about how much money they're spending, et cetera, but we don't believe that we've seen any of that evidence. And so we don't believe that the court should even be considering this case. But aside from that, on the merits, we believe that this case, that the DACA program deserves to move forward. ¿Verdad? Que siga adelante, porque como digo yo, cuando hablo con personas, yo les digo, like my community, right? Because a lot of people who don't have DACA or aren't listening to immigration news like you and I are, and the people who are watching us today, no saben, right? I mean, no los culpo because they have life.
Right.
Then, oye, pero ¿qué es esto de DACA? I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. He goes, what is this? And, you know, he knows I do immigration, pero they don't pay attention. Y le digo, man, the amount of people that I have in my office who are doing so well because of DACA, I mean, I have people who are nurses. I know people who are lawyers,
right,
who are teachers. They teach your kids. I have people who are construction workers, accountants, and all of these people being productive and producing and doing really well for their families and for this country because they're able to take advantage of this program. And so that's why DACA needs to continue to move forward. And so, you know, I try to break it down in those terms. And actually, this one person I said, I'm not going to tell you who, but a couple of hours ago, you were talking, because I saw you were talking to people who have DACA, you know, because they don't know, right? They
Right.
don't know. And
like we're everywhere.
yeah,
Andamos donde quiera. Yes, the amount of people that I have met que
yeah,
I was like, oh, I didn't know you had DACA. Like that's,
yeah,
you know, it's
yeah,
always cool to find your people, pero sí, sí, literal.
yeah.
Pero it's surprising every time that I'm like, oh, damn, we're
Yes.
everywhere.
So that's basically what's happening. Is the case is being fought in the courts. So the next step. So we're awaiting a decision. We don't know how long this decision will take, but the next step would be depending on what the judges decide. They could decide to send it back to the district court. They could decide that you know, they say, hey, it is constitutional, it can move forward, or it's not constitutional. And at that point, one of the parties is likely to try to take it to the Supreme Court so that the Supreme Court can make a decision. I will note, and feel free to interrupt me. Go ahead.
I was going to say, pero there's a part that people are very confused about. They think, o sea, so hay los dreamers que ¿verdad? Ya tienen DACA y están en el programa, y están también los dreamers que aplicaron pero se quedaron, ¿verdad? A medias. Y hay confusión en eso. Hay gente que dice, bueno, esta lawsuit doesn't pertain to those that are on hold. But this is about the entirety of the program. The DACA
This is about the entire program. So si
every dreamer.
Todos, hasta los que no han aplicado, porque si encuentra la corte que es constitucional, que puede seguir adelante, well, hopefully those people that have been waiting, and then perhaps new people who qualify under the requirements, then they could as well. But right, I mean, it's been on hold for a long time. So that is actually one of the questions as well. One of the questions that the judges did ask was, let's say we find that it's not constitutional. Let's say we find that this program cannot move forward. What happens to all those people who have DACA right now? Like, what should the court do with all those people? And there's something called a reliance argument, that those people have completely different lives now than they did 12 years ago when the program started. So is it fair? What can the court do? Is it fair if you decide that it's unlawful to take that work permit away from those people? Obviously, we believe that it is not. In the event that we do get a bad decision, we don't think that these folks should lose their work permit or employment authorization, right? So that is a question that the court is going to have to grapple with as well. And I don't want to be at that point, but it's a reality that we have to address because we believe people are benefiting and contributing to this community, to our country, as a result of having DACA.
That is a very valid point, porque I think that what makes this case like extremely difficult to even like predict is that DACA involves more than just the actual applicant, right? Like it involves employers, it involves families of mixed statuses, right? Like a lot of DACA recipients already have children who are U.S. citizens. What are you going to tell them now? Like, oh, like your mom might get deported because now, you know, we lose the DACA program. So there's a lot of things there's a lot of fear because it's unpredictable. We don't know what they're going to take into account, right?
What are you going to tell the hospital who's got nurses working? What are you going to tell the school district? The school district, are you going to call? Yeah, you're going to call them and say, hey, I know you're mid-semester, but 50 of your teachers got to go. I mean, that's crazy, right? And the interruption that would cause in the children's lives, and in not, I mean, forget about the interruption it's going to cause in the actual DACA beneficiary, but in the children's lives. I mean, that is insane. And so it's such a part of our life now that it's just it's an extremely difficult decision and very important decision, ¿verdad? Porque le va a afectar a muchas personas.
Sí, y tengo otras cuantas preguntitas sobre el DACA court case, pero antes de eso quiero pausar and ask Dafa, one of the moderators, if you could share the link from YouTube to the Facebook group, because someone mentioned right now that it's not playing live on the group. So if we could just do that, Dafa, please, that would be awesome. Thank you. Ok, bueno, una de las otras muchas preguntas que pasa con esto es, people want to know if they should wait on the DACA court case to apply for advance parole, for example.
No.
Right? That's why we've been in these court cases since the
Apply
beginning.
Like advance parole, and I watched your videos, and I applaud you again. Y no más porque está aquí. I actually agree. Estoy de acuerdo. No, si vas a aplicar, si puedes aplicar, apply now. ¿Verdad? ¿Quieres hacerlo ahorita? Because advance parole, I mean, you've seen the benefits, right? You've seen the benefits of being able to adjust with advance parole. Las personas, yo sé que hay unas personas que como quiera me dicen, sí, que tienen miedo. Pero honestamente no hemos tenido problemas. Inicialmente, yo creo, y no sé si tú estás de acuerdo conmigo, las personas que vimos que tenían problemas no habían aplicado para el advance parole. Tenían DACA y por alguna razón se fueron sin el permiso y pues...
Y que dice Univision y todos los headlines, Dreamer o DACA recipients get stuck outside y no lo dejan, pero no, muchas veces fue que salieron sin advance parole o que lamentablemente hicieron proceso consular y tenían, ¿verdad?, algún tipo de bar y pues por eso, ¿verdad?, resultó en esta... Por eso tenemos que evitar esa tragedia. Por eso...
Sí, y yo te voy a decir, inicialmente yo también tenía ese temor porque yo no sabía, yo no quería perjudicar o decirle a alguien, oye, te puedo... Y ahorita tampoco te puedo decir, te puedo garantizar que vas a regresar, pero creo que vas a regresar basado en todo, claro que sí. Si todo está en orden, ¿verdad? Yo creo que sí, porque yo no he visto que te han negado. Y inicialmente, cuando empezamos a hacer el Advance Parole, sí tenía temor. Y las personas, there were some brave people who said, you know what, I want to do it. And they showed up. I remember I had somebody show up here at, I think it was, no sé si era Progreso o aquí cerquita. Y sí, los CBP officers también no entendían mucho.
Había mucha confusión, mucha, ¿verdad?
Y la esposa de este cliente de nosotros, pues se les puso a la brava. She was, you know, and without her, I mean, they would have been there a lot longer. But I was like, I need you there every day. But afterwards, right, they started learning that, okay, this is what advance parole is under DACA. This is why you're allowed to come back in. And it's working out really well. It's like military parole in place, DACA advance parole. People need to take advantage programs that are in place to really that are really beneficial.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for commenting on that, porque I know that was a super extremely freaking question.
Y luego un punto adicional más. Tú has dicho varias maneras, porque he visto tus videos, Julieta, ¿ok? So, tú has dicho varias maneras en las cuales personas pueden pedir el advance parole, ¿verdad? It's not just education, it's not just visitar tu abuela en whatever, Querétaro.
It doesn't have to be an emergency necessarily. There's other options.
Sí, entonces be creative, right? I mean, there's medical reasons. There's all kinds of reasons that people can go and whatever applies to you. And it's really important. And then, you know, tengo unos que sí, querían ir a ver a sus abuelos y lo que hicieron los abuelos, se vinieron aquí a la frontera, se echaron un taco de voladita y se regresaron. And what about those people? Pues ya son residentes, right?
Exactly. Get creative, education, professional, humanitarian, but it's broad. No nada más es, que tengo que tener un familiar enfermo que esté en la cama. No, hay que tomar la oportunidad y mientras tengas el dinero, tengas la evidencia y la razón de hacerlo, aviéntate, especialmente si no tienes una entrada legal.
Esa es la cosa, ¿verdad? ¿Qué es esto de advance parole? Personas que entraron de una manera indocumentada, irregular a los Estados Unidos sin admisión, entonces ellos no califican para arreglar la residencia aquí en los Estados Unidos, ¿verdad? Tendrían que salir por Juárez. Que a Juárez tampoco le temo, ¿verdad? Tampoco tengo temor, pero tenemos que hacer de una manera correcta. Pero
es bastante tiempo.
Sí, te tarda 5 o 6 años. Si tú puedes hacer esto con Advance Parole, mucho mejor, porque es mucho más rápido, estás aquí en los Estados Unidos y el caso para la residencia se te va a mover a facilitar, sí, mucho más rápido. Yeah.
Y una de las preguntas aquí que también tengo y que we didn't go over on the court case is how much time should people expect to wait on the decision?
Yeah.
Do you have an estimate?
I mean, look, I just say I think it's going to be a couple of months. I don't know, right? I don't know what they're deciding. There was one of the judges who had some amazing questions. I thought all three judges asked questions. One of them.
What were your actual thoughts while you were there on sitting?
I mean, they were all very, very in tune to what was happening, and I know they come from different backgrounds and have different histories, legal histories. But I thought that they were all asking appropriate questions, and I thought they were listening. And one thing I really appreciated is that they allowed all of the attorneys, not only the United States or Maldives or New Jersey, but also the state of Texas, all of the attorneys to use as much time as they needed to make their points and make their arguments. And the Fifth Circuit is very tight on time. Like you get your 20 minutes, you get your 8 minutes, y se te prende una lucecita, and you have to stop even if you're in mid-sentence. Y esta vez, they allowed the attorneys and they let them know. And why? It's because this shows the significance, the importance of this case to this country. And so that is one thing that I did appreciate. And I wish, I was super happy to see all the courtroom packed with all of those dreamers. And I wish more people had the opportunity to see that. Because although we want to argue based on emotion and passion, which it is, right? Because this is affecting people's lives. In there, it's a little bit sometimes boring because it's you're arguing legal issues, and so. But I was so happy to see all of those people that were there. I wish there were cameras in the courtroom so that people could watch everything. But,
yeah, we listened to it to the audio, and some of those questions were actually really good questions. I was impressed. I'm like, okay, at least they're taking the time to actually like ask the right questions and learn and try to it made me a little hopeful almost. Even though we know the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeal, pues ya sabes.
It's a difficult court, but it was great to see them asking all of those questions. And I was just honored to be sitting there amongst some amazing attorneys who are really spending a lot of time and dedicated to all these to this cause and to all these amazing people.
Awesome. Bueno, voy a seguir con unas preguntitas ya que tengo aquí, que tienes unos cuantos minutitos left. One of the big questions is about the upcoming elections, ¿verdad? Gente que tiene DACA está preocupada, and so they want to know, so what happens if I get approved for advance parole, and while I'm outside, Trump becomes president?
Yeah.
What is your expert opinion on that?
I don't know. I mean, advance parole was happening during Trump. I don't recall seeing many cases of where they or any cases where they denied somebody on advance parole, and so it wasn't, I don't think, as much, but definitely it was happening. And so I don't know. I wish I could tell you. I wish I had an answer for you. Like, why is it that they're going to deny your admission back into the United States? Like, did you commit a crime? Did something else happen while you were out? If nothing's happened, I would hope that the CBP officers continue to use the same discretion that they have been in allowing people back into the United States. And honestly, I think that is what would happen, right? I can't tell you what's going to happen under a different administration because the Trump administration was quite chaotic, crazy, and so I can't tell you, but I don't expect. I mean, we had that issue with the public charge issue when people were applying for carga pública, when people were applying for their residency through the consular process, and things worked out, and so it wasn't as brutal as we thought. But yeah, definitely a great question. I wish I had a better answer for you. But
Pero
I don't
sí es lo que se espera. I mean, like, that's what experts think, that CBP would use the same discretion that they have been applying
right.
throughout these years, that
Right.
it wouldn't change as long as they come before their expiration date, of course, and that they're not coming with contraband or things that would make them otherwise.
Yeah. Well, I mean, an advance parole has been around. It's been around.
And it's
I
for
mean,
other categories too.
and they don't just because there's a Republican administration or a conservative president in office doesn't mean that they stop honoring advance parole, right? And so, that's what I expect.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And you brought up a comment right now about public charge, and I actually have a question on that. DACA recipients always wonder if, and these are different questions, right? If they apply for unemployment, could that be an issue later on? If they apply for
Dinero, unemployment es tu dinero, ¿verdad?
right, unemployment, si tú trabajas, tú estás pagando into the unemployment system already.
Es tu feria.
Pero es que cuando yo les digo, no me creen. They gotta hear it from you.
Yeah, no, that's your money. You know, like, you're not going to apply for something that you don't qualify for.
Right, that would be fraud.
Yeah,
no,
that's
pero,
fraud.
por ejemplo, food stamps para sus hijos, eso no es carga pública, ¿verdad? Porque es para el hijo ciudadano.
No es para ti, es para tu niño.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know people have those questions. Now, yeah, I mean, the Trump administration was looking into all of that. Like, did you get food stamps? And so I was also questioning that. Like, am I going to send you to Juárez y vas a arreglar la residencia? Again, we were lucky enough not to have any major problems. But yeah, those are good questions because people will need to know, ¿verdad? Nunca sabemos cuáles van a ser las decisiones que van a determinar.
Claro. Y bueno, ¿y qué pasa con esas? Bueno, tengo otra pregunta como que de doble filo, doble cuchillo.
Dale, gracias.
Unas personas dicen, ok, es que yo tengo un misdemeanor y eso fue antes de DACA, ¿verdad? Fue en mis días de joven, pero eventualmente salió el programa de DACA, fui aprobado para DACA, he renovado continuamente sin problemas. ¿Alguien como yo podría hacer Advance Parole o no?
You know, I'm very careful with that because I also don't know the answer, ¿verdad? Porque y eso apenas basado en experiencia, yo creo que se va a hacer caso por caso. Porque si una persona vamos a decir que tiene algo que se llama un crimen de turpitud moral, ¿verdad? Pero probablemente te dieron el DACA, el permiso de DACA, porque no eres inadmisible, porque caes bajo una excepción. Y me imagino que si es aplicado, que si el CBP officer aplica eso y se fija la ley, pues te deben de dejar regresar a los Estados Unidos. Pero ese es el problema, que yo no siempre le tengo confianza a los oficiales de los puentes o la frontera de donde vengas ingresando. Entonces sí, con esas personas yo he tenido mucho más cuidado y no siempre les he dicho que hagamos el Advance Parole. Eso va a ser caso por caso y tendríamos que ver cada caso individualmente.
Sí, porque depende también el tipo de misdemeanor, ¿verdad? Que tienen. Right. Yo personalmente sí conozco personas que lo han hecho. Conozco lamentablemente muchos de shoplifting, que he escuchado yo de que, ay, nuestra raza ya necesitan cortarnos las manos, porque sí con varios que tienen misdemeanor por haber shoplifting, sin problemas.
Yeah, like shoplifting in the state of Texas, though, that would be a Class C misdemeanor, right? That's likely not a Class A or Class B, and so, those are things.
Pero por ejemplo, no es como un DUI o un DUI, eso es algo más serio, claro. So, definitivamente esos son obviamente casos más intricate, pero sí existen las personas que lo han hecho.
Y la gente tiene que tener cuidado, no te metas en problemas, ¿verdad? Y si te metes en problemas, pues habla con alguien quien te puede ayudar para tratar de que no tengas ese problema, que no te vayan a quitar el DACA.
Sí. Y oye, Carlos, yo sé que en tu law firm specifically hacen criminal law y también immigration law, right?
No,
¿Verdad que sí? Sí. Como por ejemplo, ustedes pueden representar a alguien, un DACA que tenga una DUI, ayudarlo con eso y también ayudarle a ver si puede renovar después de haber metido la pata tan feo.
I've done that a lot of times, because también lo que tienes que hacer es, ¿verdad? Si tienes el DWI, no te van a renovar el DACA mientras que está pendiente.
Ujú.
Entonces, y el caso en la corte criminal se tarda un tiempo, entonces you have to kind of time it
You have to do it.
appropriately. Sí, luego aplicas o si te mandan un RFE, luego porque si se te vence, tienes nada más un año, ¿verdad? Para aplicar antes de que digan, ¿sabes qué? Tú ya abandonaste tu caso. Pero si aplicas dentro del año, you can work with that. That's another thing. Some people are saying, hey, this Fifth Circuit case, well, it's pending and we don't know what the decision is going to be. Y si lo quitan, mejor me espero. No voy a renovar, me voy a esperar. ¿Estás
No.
loco? ¿Cómo que
No.
no? ¿Cómo que no vas a renovar? ¿Estás loco? Y
Right, like they just get rid of their opportunity. Y mientras esté el Employment Authorization Document vigente, se espera que dejarían que terminara tu turno, right? Sería the right thing to do. We don't know what's going to happen, pero cómo nada más dejar tirar la toalla sin, no. Sí, yo escucho a mucha gente eso.
Especialmente because like there's like those reliance arguments. Like I told you earlier, what if they do say that the program can't move forward, but those people who have DACA can continue to renew? Kind of like what Judge Hanen did, right? He didn't stop the people who currently have DACA.
Oye, and I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot here because I actually don't know the answer to this. I know that when someone has a DUI or DWI case, it's a lot of money for representation. That I understand. Does your law firm do like other law firms where they offer payment plans or things like that to work with the client?
Sí, nosotros siempre hemos hecho eso, plan de pago, porque pues es importante que las personas, yo sé que todos no.
Porque eso debe ser timely, ¿verdad? O sea, eso debes de que jump on it, like.
Sí. No, sí, y luego hay programas en donde estés tú, hay programas en que la fiscalía quizás tiene, en donde te pueden quizás quitar el cargo si entras en un programa, si llegas a un acuerdo con la fiscalía. So you need to be real careful. Talk to somebody who knows that local jurisdiction. Like for me, like people call me from all over the place and I'm like, honestly, on some of these cases, you just have to know who the people are. And so I won't take cases from, like for criminal stuff, from other places that I don't really know, because I want them to get the best local representation, right? Y ¿qué me sirve a mí ir a un caso en Maverick County en donde no conozco al fiscal de allí, ¿verdad? Ahora sí.
Como territorios que pues están más difíciles porque no lo sabe.
Sí, correcto, sí.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. That's really, really good to know, porque sí, a veces personas preguntan sobre eso and they don't quite have the money at the time. So, I mean, first thing is, no se metan en problemas. Like, please don't do that. But if you do need two types of representation, the criminal part and then also pues, the immigration, to be able to represent your case in a way that hopefully gets you your renewed, approved.
Yeah.
Okay. Y otra de las top questions que tenemos es sobre employer-based visas.
Yeah, that was really, I loved that when they announced that. You can finish your question. I'm sorry, I was jumping into it, but I loved when they announced that. But that's why it's really important for people to ask those questions. Go ahead, finish the question, and then I'll answer your.
Ibas a hablar acerca de eso. Ok, cuando lo anunciaron al mismo tiempo con la orden ejecutiva que fue parada. Entonces, hay confusión. Primero, personas dicen, pues como está el caso de parole in place en la corte, pues ya no lo de la employer-based visa for dreamers, que tengan una carrera de higher education, pues ya no está. So, first, can you inform us about that? And then also about the big requirements for this type of process.
Sí. Pues sí, dieron esa información y sí, yo creo que eso es correcto, que pues cuando pararon el programa, ¿verdad? So the parole in place that was going to benefit those people who are currently employed in some kind of professional capacity, I have not heard of any case of that manner moving forward. And honestly, I was a little confused as to what the requirements were going to be. But, one thing I did know is that if you were working for some kind of organization or business, that you likely were going to be able to qualify for that type of parole in place based on that. The details were a little murky.
Yeah.
You know, I think something that would have benefited people would have been a degree, a higher education degree. And that would have likely helped a case move forward. But yeah, I don't think that's going on right now. I think that would have been a great program for a lot of people who perhaps aren't married to a United States citizen, or yeah, exactly. And so that would have been great.
Yeah, but like, for example, if there's dreamers out there that have or got their DACA before the age of 18, then those potentially don't have acquired unlawful presence. Those could get sponsored by an employer if they meet the requirements for a certain visa, ¿verdad?
Sí, pero vas a probablemente tener que ir a la entrevista, ¿verdad? Pero si tienes, if for some reason, like, this is right why you have to really think about it. If for some reason you get advance parole y te dan la entrevista en tu país al mismo tiempo, pues ya fregaste. Porque si sales nada más para la entrevista y te niegan el caso por cualquier razón, pues ya.
Ya te fregaste. Y es lo que esta acción ejecutiva iba a como que ayudar.
Yeah.
Right? Because they were going to kind of like navigate it or like facilitate that, or at least that's what I understood from the very shady way that they put it. Like it was weird, blurry lines.
It was not that well communicated. Yeah, we didn't have all the information. So I think you and I were in the same boat.
Sí. Y bueno, sobre las personas, los dreamers que tienen ya hijos que tienen más de 21 años, que son ciudadanos americanos, ¿cuál es tu consejo para esos padres?
Que los pidan, los hubieran pedido el mismo día que cumplieron los 21 años, que los pidan, pero también regresamos a tus videos, Advance Parole, porque si tú entras y no tienes una admisión a los Estados Unidos y sales con esto de Advance Parole y regresas, tu hijo te pide y ya arreglas aquí dentro de los Estados Unidos. Por eso es importantísimo esto de Advance Parole. Pero sí, que te pidan, porque si no, vamos a decir que tú tienes DACA y tu hijo te pide. Te pueden pedir, ellos te pueden pedir. Te van a pedir, pero tú, si tuviste presencia indocumentada en los Estados Unidos, unlawful presence, como tú dijiste hace rato, ¿verdad? Que es todas las personas que no tenían DACA antes de los 18 años con 6 meses. Entonces tú vas a necesitar un perdón por estar en los Estados Unidos sin documentos. Ese perdón nada más se las dan a personas que tienen mamá o papá, esposo, esposa, ciudadanos residentes, son los que califican. Y si no tienes eso, pues no te puedo mandar yo a hacer el proceso consular. Entonces, por eso es el proceso. Por eso este programa de Biden componía mucho de eso, ¿verdad? Parole in place.
Sí, porque tuve muchos comentarios de la raza que digo, ay, man, ¿cómo es la gente, verdad? Cuando no saben. Like, ay, ¿para qué pasan esa orden ejecutiva si los que tienen esposos, ciudadanos que los peticionen ya como quiera pueden arreglar? No es tan fácil de esa manera, o sea, si no ya todos hubieran arreglado. O sea, hay gente que por años ha estado casada con un ciudadano y que porque no tienen esa entrada legal no pueden hacer ajuste de estatus y es muy riesgoso para ciertas personas hacer el proceso consular si no, ¿verdad? Si tienen algunas cosas en su historial.
Sí, claro. Entonces, hay que tener cuidado con eso y también saber exactamente qué es lo que va a pasar. No nada más porque tienes un hijo ciudadano americano, no quiere decir que vas a arreglar. Sí, entonces la gente viene y dice, oh, ya tengo mi hijo que me puede pedir, perfecto, pero hay esto, y hay esto, y hay esto, y vas a calificar, tenemos que ver.
De tu personal experience, and I know you connect with a lot of attorneys because you're very involved. Have you ever heard of any DACA recipient doing advance parole que hubiera tenido con advance parole problemas al regresar?
No, and that's why I feel very confident telling people that they need to do advance parole. I haven't heard that. I haven't experienced it. Maybe it has happened. I just haven't seen it. And so again, ¿verdad? No te vas a meter en problemas, no vas a hacer algo ridículo y no vas a ir sin tener el permiso.
Yo les digo, no hagan mensadas and you'll be just fine. ¿Verdad? Porque pues no vas a regresar con una entrando en el bridge. Like, come on, you know, like, you gotta be for real.
Yeah, and so that's why people need to do it, ¿verdad? Hagan ese proceso de Advance Parole importantísimo.
¿Y qué va a pasar con todas esas solicitudes de DACA que se quedaron congeladas?
Ya, tenemos muchas nosotros también, no sabemos, ¿verdad? ¿Qué es lo que va a pasar? Si deciden que va a seguir el programa adelante, ojalá que pues las revisen y las aprueben. Si niegan el caso, pues probablemente ya perdiste tu dinero. Lo mismo de esto del parole in place, ¿verdad? Muchos mandaron las aplicaciones, nosotros también, inclusive, pero pues pararon el programa.
Pero es que sí es bueno tomar la oportunidad de hacer un programa cuando lo hay. Yo sé que es dinerito y la neta, yo lo entiendo porque he estado ahí donde no tengo ni un peso para comer, entonces hay que renovar la DACA, pues se renueva, ¿verdad? Es prioridades. Yo recuerdo cuando empezó lo del programa de DACA, Carlos, había mucha gente que no aplicó por miedo, por falta de dinero, por falta de información, por lo que tú quieras, pero no aplicaron. Y ahorita quisieran haber podido aplicar para estar en ese batch de los initial applicants que ya pudieron aplicar y renovar.
Desafortunadamente yo veo a esa gente también y hay unos que sí, ¿verdad? Por la desidia y por dinero, pero hay otros que porque ellos estaban muy chicos y sus papás estaban viviendo con sus papás y sus papás no estaban bien informados o tenían temor o decían, pues no tenemos dinero y desafortunadamente ellos son los que están sufriendo ahora porque ya pudieran tener muchos años con este permiso y luego también calificar para el Advance Parole.
Yeah. Yeah. Y verdad, hay maneras de que las personas puedan agarrar su récord de entradas y salidas, porque por ejemplo, muchos they freak out, they're like, ay, no me regresaron mi Advance Parole, no tengo una entrada legal, ¿cómo empiezo mi proceso de ajuste de estatus? O they didn't stop my passport, no tengo una entrada legal. Y yo pues les digo, pues I don't know, go to attorney, get your FOIA, like do something.
Yeah,
Hay maneras, ¿verdad?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Get your FOIA. You should be able to see, hopefully you remember to make sure you get your stamp. That's the reason, right? That's one of the reasons. Sí. So, make sure you get that, que no se te olvide. Yo sé que vienes con nervios, pero pues que es lo más importante. Y sí, tenemos que buscar, pues vamos a buscar. A veces nos mandan récords incompletos y tenemos que apelar para que nos den los récords completos, pero sí, importantísimo eso. Y claro, que si puedes documentar que vienes de regreso, pues hasta mucho mejor. I've seen some of those videos on documenting the trip.
Yeah, they're very, yo a veces chillo porque like there's people that haven't seen their parents in 20 years, you know? So this is opportunity, like, ¿cómo vas a dejar que el miedo te venza, hombre? Like, no.
Yo no de DACA, pero hice un military parole in place para un señor que pues tenía más de 25 años aquí y cuando me mandó fotos de cuando fue a ver a su familia en México, no había visto a su mamá en más de 25 años. And it's like, wow, amazing, right? The things that people have to go through. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. Bueno, pues muchas gracias. La última pregunta que yo tengo aquí para ti y después podemos ver si alguien en los comentarios tiene una really good juicy question, pero ¿cuál es tu recomendación para los dreamers que están viendo ahorita el video? What is your ultimate advice for them?
The first one is the advice that you've been giving this entire time. If you have DACA and you don't have a lawful admission into the United States, you need to apply. You need to apply for Advance Parole. It's essential. It's important. I mean, it's something you have to do. And the next thing is keep renewing. Que no lo dejes a la desidia. Renew. You want to make sure you renew on time. Se está tardando muchísimo tiempo. A veces estaba tardando. Ya ahorita van un poquito más
You're so inconsistent.
Yeah. Pero entonces aplica con tiempo y usa eso, ¿verdad? Usa eso para tu beneficio. You want to keep make sure that you're in good standing and you keep doing that.
Sí, eso no se desanimen. Yo sé que vienen las elecciones, que viene el nuevo presidente, que está DACA en la corte, pero that doesn't mean you stop renewing, because unfortunately, if that's your only opportunity to continue to be able to work here, to continue to be able to be free of deportation, then you gotta do it, you know, like no puedes dejar que te consuma el miedo, que, ay, ¿qué tal si se pierde el caso? Like, pues si se pierde, pues se pierde, pero por lo menos tú vas a tener tu DACA renovada. Like, you gotta remember that we've also been fighting this DACA program since forever.
See, and another thing is you have to advocate for yourself, right? I mean, don't sit down. Don't let, I mean, you know this better than anybody else. And if there's a gathering of people who have DACA, go to it. If there's a meeting, a town hall, go to that. Advocate for yourselves because, verdad, tú eres el más interesado. And without people's voices, without people saying, hey, this is my family, this is what's affecting me, these things would never get done. And it's always been that in the history of our country. People actually have to get up and start saying something. Yeah, you do. You have to really fight for your rights and get informed and spread the message, because it's super important. Otro punto que no hice, I'm sorry, I'll go to questions right now, but people who have DACA, hay unos que me dicen, oye, pues ya tengo mi permiso de DACA, ¿para qué quiero la residencia? Because you don't know.
Es más dinero, like,
yeah, you don't know. And I mean, just do it, right? You have to do it. Que si ya no existe este programa. Or what happens if you get into a situation? Tienes un poquito más derechos, ¿verdad? So just do it. Yeah, no anden con fregaderas. Do it.
Sí, a veces la raza se pasa. A veces. Like, come on, like if you have the opportunity, si no, rífenla.
Sí, ¿verdad?
You have the opportunity to get the green card. Come on, guys. Y también hay oportunidades. Hay ciertos programas. I know, like, for example, 1% for America hace loans para like USCIS fees at 1%. Okay. 1% interest. So, like, those people that don't have the money, porque acaban de subir las fees de USCIS, ¿verdad? No ayudan, pero ¿cómo friegan? Ahorita ya están como que tripleteadas las fees, and people will have issues finding the money to come up with the money for that. So there's some programs that you guys can also try to take advantage of for the USCIS fees.
Sí, claro.
Bueno, pues les quiero recordar, those of you who are still here, that we are Spanglish Dreamers. Estamos en el Facebook, en el YouTube, en el Instagram. Tengo un WhatsApp channel. Mando notificaciones, información importante. So make sure that you're following everything. Y dinos, Carlos, ¿dónde te pueden encontrar las personas que quieran hablar contigo? Porque alguien, you need to feel comfortable. If you guys are going to pay for an attorney, you need to feel comfortable with your attorney, ¿ok? Y si dices, ¿sabes qué? Ese vato me cayó bien. Es bien genuine, me cayó bien. Quiero que él me haga mi caso. ¿Dónde te pueden contactar?
Sí, well, we have a Facebook at Garcia Attorneys Law, Instagram, TikTok as well. It's usually just Garcia Attorneys at Law. So any one of those, we have our webpage, garcialaw.com, and we have offices in McAllen, Austin, and Waco right now. I'm in McAllen in South Texas, but yeah, we can see whoever needs to be seen. Now, one thing is, no te voy a decir lo que quieres oír, escuchar, ¿verdad? Te voy a decir lo que pienso yo basado en mi opinión legal, porque mucha gente dice, oh, no, pues yo pienso, o esta otra persona me dijo esto. Ok, yo te voy a decir lo que yo pienso, y no todos tienen una manera de arreglar, ¿verdad? Si no, pues qué bueno estuviéramos aquí, no estuviéramos
Pero
aquí.
es lo que se necesita un abogado que te va a decir sí o no la verdad y no te esté haciendo gastar tu dinero y tu tiempo, porque la verdad sí hay muchos que mantienen la esperanza, pero de esperanza no se vive.
Ten mucho cuidado también, I mean, right? Hay mucha tranza, y como te estaba explicando yo hace rato, tuvimos una junta con otros abogados en donde we feel that there's a lot of scam going on, a lot of fraud, and so just be careful, right? Do your homework, ask a lot of questions.
Yes. Ask a lot of questions. That's key. Bueno, pues muchas gracias, Carlos. I really enjoyed chatting with you today.
Are we out of time, or are we going to take a question?
If we can take questions, if you have time.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Puedo checar aquí también yo mi private chat. I like to be respectful of time.
Yeah. No, I'm fine on time right now. Yeah. My wife ended up picking up the kids, and so we are good.
Great. A ver. Entonces, póngame aquí en los comentarios preguntitas y voy a sacar una buena. I don't know if you have any on your side that you would like to. Do you see any on your?
I don't really know how to scroll, so
Okay.
I'm looking right now. There's just a bunch of questions like, should I do it now? Should I apply for Advance Parole even though I'm renewing? Yeah, apply for Advance Parole. The fact that you've already renewed, you have a receipt, you can use that.
Your receipt notice, sí. Mucha gente pregunta eso de que like, ay, ya mero me toca renovar. Should I wait until I have my card, my renewed card? You don't need to wait. Advance Parole se tarda como literal 5 meses a veces en llegar, entonces.
Yeah.
You don't want to wait.
Yeah. Sí, hay alguien que hizo Advance Parole y les regresaron una hoja y ellos se quedaron con la segunda. That's fine. Usa esa hoja para cuando vayas a arreglar la residencia. That's all you need.
Okay, esta Norma dice, hi, I did Advance Parole this year and everything went great, but I do have another question. Well, in the future, would it affect me if I have 2 legal entrances, I imagine, with Advance Parole? Because I want to apply again.
No, I mean, if you have an admission, you have an admission, right? Yeah, so an admission is an admission, and that should be good for the future.
Okay. Acá hay otra que la verdad yo no entiendo, but you might understand. Dice, I have 2 DUIs. I'm a residente permanente since 2009, and I want to apply for citizenship. Will my DUI from 2013, I guess, affect me? No.
Yeah, so that's not a DACA question, right? That's a question from a lawful permanent resident. You need to show 5 years of good moral character. If you finished your program, depends on when you finished your probation, if you pled guilty. If you have 5 years of good moral character, it's very likely that you should be okay. Be careful though, because I would have to look at the criminal records, because if you're coming and going to Mexico and you have more than 5 years of a sentence, then you could be found inadmissible y te pueden detener en el puente, so ten cuidado.
Esta dice, ¿cuánto tiempo es recomendable renovar para la DACA? Ay, todos ya deben de saber. Les voy a dar un zape virtual.
Tú di ese, you know that one.
Come on, guys. 120 to 150 days before it expires es lo que USCIS nos ha recomendado desde hace 12 años o cuántos años. Por favor, siempre me manden como ellos lo recomiendan, porque hay veces que las están renovando bien rápido, pero hay veces que se atrasan. You just never know cuando te va a tocar esa suerte, so you just have to do your best to always send it within the good time frame.
Yeah. I know there was a lot of questions. I was seeing them. Yeah, my DACA has been in process for 5 months now. Yeah, it takes time, you know.
Aquí me pusieron, someone here asked, if I did parole in place, can I still do advance parole?
They did parole in place. Yeah, I mean, you can. Yeah,
because it's frozen right now, parole in place, and it hasn't gotten approved or anything.
Well, they might have done a different parole in place. Maybe they did a military parole in place or something else. But if they did the Biden parole in place, yeah, I mean, no tienes nada.
Yeah, it's an application in.
Yeah. So yeah,
you're saying if they did military parole in place, they could still apply for advance parole.
Right. Somebody on here did ask about military parole in place. And yeah, you know, if your spouse or your children are in the military, ¿verdad? And apply. That's a great program. Apply for the military parole in place y luego ojalá que puedas arreglar de esa manera también. Y eso hay veces hasta que aunque tengas unas deportaciones, eso ya es bajo discreción.
Aquí tengo uno, dice, hace poco entré con Advance Parole. Me gustaría aplicar para residencia, pero sería por medio de mi padre. Él es ciudadano. ¿Cuánto se tardaría más o menos?
Ya, si tú eres mayor de 21 años, claro, me imagino, entonces, y te está pidiendo tu papá, pues, aunque hayas ingresado de Advance Parole, eso eso se va a tardar, ¿verdad? Porque no hay una immediate application. Si hay por ahí un valiente y se animan, entonces, y te llegas a casar, pues arreglas de una manera mucho, mucho más rápido.
Sí, lamentablemente, sí tarda mucho.
Uh-huh.
Porque ese no es proceso de ajustar estatus dentro de los Estados Unidos, ¿verdad? Eso sería como ir al...
Yeah, it's not an immediate relative, right? That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody said it's always Texas. Yeah, it's always Texas.
It sucks because we're from Texas. Like the Valley is not that bad. The Valley is great. I love the Valley.
I mean, I love Texas, but yeah, we got some problems.
Nada más es ese pinche Judge Hayden que, cómo nos odia a los Dreamers. He has it for us. Dice, I haven't done my taxes. Will that affect my DACA and my Advance Parole if I apply for it?
I don't think that's a question that they're asking on DACA and Advance Parole. You should do your taxes, but I don't think that's a question.
It's not a question on the application, but no chingues. Hay que hacer las taxas. I mean, ¿cómo queremos los beneficios that come with having some type of immigration status without taking part in things that really is what makes this country, which is taxes, participating in that? A lo mejor para Advance Parole y DACA no es un problema, pero después si quieres aplicar para ajuste de estatus y luego para la ciudadanía, eso puede salir, ¿no?
Sí, es importante porque a veces te piden eso, los ingresos.
Es parte de demostrar el carácter moral también.
Sí, no siempre, pero sí a veces. Ten cuidado. Si puedes cumplir con la ley, pues cumple. Hermosa Latina dice, tengo DACA, no récord criminal, me casé con ciudadano veterano. ¿Cómo puedo arreglar? Pues, DACA Advance Parole o Military Parole in place. Tú tienes varias maneras. Y luego te pide tu esposo veterano y hacen la aplicación de la residencia. Ajá. Yeah. So, anyway, but yeah.
Sí, bueno, pues muchas gracias. Thank you for taking those extra questions. I really do appreciate your time, too, Carlos. I know you're super, super busy porque you handle different types of cases and you are very active también en la comunidad. Te aplaudo tu trabajo y te agradezco que te hayas tomado tiempo de estar con nosotros. It was a pleasure catching up with you, too, because I haven't seen you in forever.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. And thank you so much for what you're doing. And spreading this information out. And I love watching your videos because they're very informative, but also kind of funny. If people are not watching you on a regular basis, they should. But also, it's just really important to have these types of conversations, ¿verdad? Porque mucha gente, yo cuando, y no que es nada especial, pero yo cuando estaba creciendo, cuando iba a tener una conversación con un abogado, ¿verdad? I didn't even know what that was, right? And so we have to have these conversations. We have to be open to the community. We have to be open to people just to talk about it, and not necessarily like in a legal manner, but like what's happening, what's going on, how is this being applied?
Like a conversation between people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's funny that you bring that up, and I don't want to throw shade to other people, pero I know that now on TikTok hay muchos que salen, ¿verdad? A dar información, and that's awesome. But you've been doing this forever. I know that you go to the community like in-person presentations. Sí. That's where I know him from, right? In the community, presentando a la comunidad. Miren, estos son los nuevos cambios de inmigración, así es como se pueden preparar en caso de que los agarren y no tienen papel. O sea, ese tipo de advocacy es la que yo pienso que really makes an immigration attorney great. O sea, no es venir aquí que con chingo de seguidores. No. Es being genuine and actually caring for the people they represent. And so...
Oye, pero te voy a decir, it's a little selfish. ¿Sabes por qué?
¿Por qué?
Porque cada vez que voy a una colonia me dan de comer.
¡Ay, te iba a
decir! Entonces, me dan de comer.
Con belly lleno.
Sí, pero ahí no es comer, ahí es tragar. So, porque tú sabes, ¿verdad? Dice, no, tengan. Y yo, ¿cómo que le voy a decir que no?
I do miss my juntas caseras. Siempre me dan de comer también.
Sí, yo sé. Y luego no nada más una cosa, hay varias cosas. And so, so yeah, I really do love doing that and being in the community and being able to do that.
Awesome. Pues muchas gracias. Un round of applause, pónganle. Y si todavía no lo siguen en el TikTok, se llama ¿cómo?
It's Garcia. I don't even know it, but it's Garcia Attorney, I think.
Aquí dice Garcia Attorneys. Ajá, sí, ahí está, háganle clic. Si lo quieren seguir y mirar su información. I know that you've been trying to get a little bit more active on TikTok, but he also does have an Instagram, so if you guys are more like an Instagram type of person. Okay. Bueno, muchas gracias. Cuídense mucho. Gracias, Carlos. Hasta la próxima.
Thank you, guys. Great to see you.
Bye.
This is where I put my artwork. We'll see you. Bye, guys.
Bye.